very funny picture. It'll be out shortly. There's also several other films.
And to this end, and you asked the question, Paul, how can wrestling not be personality-oriented? It is that kind of sport.
Yeah, but what I was trying to find out was, is it going to be like have ratings in it?
It'll have ratings.
Yes.
And, you know, I mean, is it going to be your standard wrestling-type magazine, or is it going to be something out of the norm?
It'll be standard to the point where you look for it. It'll be out of the norm in the point that you will be surprised continually.
Because, see, I've never heard of a magazine that, what you said earlier, I think in our previous interview, that it would have like personalities like Cyndi Lauper and other...
There'll be personal interviews with people like Danny
DeVito and those
but at ringside,
Oh, okay.
Giving
in other
their
words,
opinions on
yes,
wrestling.
everything is oriented towards wrestling. No, I didn't mean that it's going to be outside the framework of
in
wrestling.
the wrestling game.
I misunderstood you then.
But it was it's within the, you should excuse the pun, or at least 2/3 of a pun, PU, within the wrestling arena.
Yeah.
An
When
example,
will this come out now?
and a great wrestling fan, Vinny Pacianza from up here in Providence.
The boxer, the lightweight champion.
He may be sitting at ringside commentating on his opinion of wrestling.
Right.
Mike Tyson, who's a personal friend, may be telling us,
Or us.
Sugar Ray Leonard, or you fellas, telling us about professional wrestling and their opinion of a match.
Mark Gastineau of
Mark
the Jets.
there you go.
It is always going to be oriented toward wrestling.
Larry Bird, a personal friend of mine. Larry, Bobby Orr. I know Bobby Orr when he started in. I called him in the Madison Hotel. I said, hey, kid, come here. Guy said, you can't call him kid. That's Bobby Orr. Since that time, I said, Bobby, I'm sorry. I didn't realize who you were. He looked like a little young kid to me. I followed, and Bobby Orr's been a legend in his own time. And these are people like that will give their opinion of professional wrestling.
And we mentioned personality before. Let's shoot out a few names to see what your reaction.
Before you do that, you just asked me when it would be out.
When would the magazine be out?
Bert told you either the last week of March or the first week in April.
Of '88.
It'll be out on the newsstands then,
Yes,
that you can
sir.
go down and buy one.
All around every newsstand in
and
America.
you're supporting not only American-made products, but MS. So remember that.
Right.
Okay, let's
Sounds like a very
shoot
good
out a
cause.
few names now.
In fact, some of your fans may write in to you.
Okay.
We may decide for certain select fans who win a contest or so forth that we will donate a magazine or two to these fans for your most prestigious show.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lou.
We'd like that, and I'm sure they would too.
Now go ahead, ask me about the wrestlers.
Okay, I'll shoot out a few names. Chief J. Strongbow.
A great wrestler in his day, a legend, originator of the real, I would believe it, of the war dance, and now working for Capital Wrestling Titan Sports as an agent.
Spiros Arion.
Spiros Arion of Greek heritage, moving to Australia, coming out of the country of Australia. A very competent wrestler. Basically, wrestling dates back to the Greco-Roman days.
Now, wasn't there some rumor, though, that he had stolen some money from the WWF?
Never. That's a fallacy. People start rumors all over the country.
That he was given some money by Vince McMahon.
I heard a rumor you were handsome.
That's, you see,
You're going to get all kinds of
Arion,
rumors.
all I can say about him, he was an upright, clean, decent, wonderful wrestler. Any rumors that were started by people with that have devious minds and half-wits, and there are always rumors come up, but they're not true. Spiros was a great man, a great wrestler, retired now, living in Perth.
Perth? Is that?
Do you lisp?
What country is that in? It's in Australia.
Australia, Perth.
Okay. What about,
don't say Perth in this direction.
What do you think of Rick Martel? I noticed you had a match with him.
Rick
in the
Martel,
video.
I've got to respect as a legend. In my best day, I could never beat a wrestler like Rick Martel. I feel Rick Martel has the ability, has the speed. He's a good-looking young athlete. He has the stamina. He's a world champion now, along with a good friend of mine. Pardon me for the fuffing and coughing. Tito Santana. And Rick Martel, I have nothing but respect for him. He was an AWA world champion.
Right.
He's now a tag team champion. He's a legend.
We have 2 minutes left. Let's talk, okay, we're days away from a wrestling event, Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. Who do you think is going to win?
That's going to be a tough one. Andre did give a very accountable account for himself in the last encounter. I'm going to go with Hulk Hogan, but as I said, Andre is always a threat, especially since he's been hanging around with the devious half with Bobby Heenan, who I believe has warped and demented his mind and brought him to the fact that he'll do anything to win a match. Basically, Andre was a good, upright guy when I handled him. As of now, hanging around with Bobby Heenan, who I dislike, I believe that he's influenced Andre, and it's going to be a tough one, but I'll go with Hogan.
Okay, Macho Man Savage or Honky Tonk Man?
I like the Macho Man. I always felt that he had the wrestling capabilities, the agility, the power, the speed to go behind, the intestinal fortitude. I felt he had it all together. He was a knowledgeable wrestler, and he has that beautiful Elizabeth cheering him on in the corner. I'm going with the Honky Tonk Man.
You agree, Brett?
With Elizabeth, I'd go anywhere. What am I doing here?
There you go.
Okay, the Strike Force or the Heart Foundation?
I'd have to stay with the Strike Force Heart Foundation. I believe great wrestlers. They're very very competent wrestlers, but they don't have the speed or agility of the Strike Force. I've got to go with Strike Force, which is Tito and Martel.
Okay, there you have it. Burt Sugar and Lou Albano. We're going to wrap it up now, Paul. Any last words?
Well, I just like to thank them for coming on again to our show, and I hope they
Thanks
can make
very
it back
much,
for another segment.
It's been a great honor for us being here with you, Paul, and with you. And
Thank you.
anytime you want us back, it's a pleasure, and we love being here because
Thank you, Lou.
And we enjoyed being here to show off the new cover for the first time. That's yours to show.
Well, thank
you very much.
And we'll be right back right after this break. Hi, I'm Leonard Kaplan,
I'm Paul Fay.
and we're from Wrestling Talk,
There's a problem that bothers us.
and that's drunk driving. Thousands of people are killed and injured every year because of drunk driving.
So take our advice.
And don't drink and drive, because as they say in the wrestling world, this may be the last body slam you'll ever take. For the benefit of the audience, why don't you give your background and how you started with professional wrestling, being involved, and what your function is as a publicist?
Well, I've been a fan of this great sport since I was so small. When my father I used to drag my father to take me to Madison Square Garden to watch a guy like this wrestle, and watch Bruno Sammartino against him. And it's a funny thing working with Lou now, but I used to throw potatoes and oranges and things at Lou in the ring.
Really?
That's why he opened up a grocery shop.
that's why my face looks like it does. You see, that's from a potato and an orange. You gotta look.
So,
But you forgive him for that, right?
Mr.
Lou?
Potato Face. I
Hey,
always
that's
knew
nothing
it.
funny, though.
Wasn't
We
that
tell
a
the fans
child's
out
game
there
with
they
potato
shouldn't
heads?
throw.
Right.
You don't know how many people
Exactly.
are blinded at ringside from a
Right.
guy throwing a quarter.
Not
Freddie
only in
Blassie
wrestling
lost an eye.
matches, hockey games,
Freddie Blassie
football
lost
games.
an eye from someone throwing an egg into the ring. The shell cut the
Really?
ring, lost his eye, one of his eyes. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
How many
not-
years
that's
ago
not-
was that?
Back about 15, 14 years ago.
That's
Big danger, a little kid at the ringside.
Exactly.
It's very dangerous.
I got hit with a penny one time right here when I was taking
Right.
some photographs.
Very
I don't
poor.
encourage
Just
it
below
either.
my
and, that was only a little joke.
jest.
Well,
Well, in those days, you weren't
yeah.
dealing with a full deck anyway,
Right.
so that was
Right.
okay.
What the hell makes you think he is now? Look at him.
Well, but I was never in the business. I was in the boxing business. That's where I met Burt Sugar, because I was an amateur fighter, and I was always a fan of wrestling. But using my writing and publicity background, I got into the wrestling circuit because I've been such a fan of it. And now it's developed into me writing for several of the magazines, doing publicity work for some of the top talent, doing some things for Lou, for Sergeant Slaughter. I also have a radio talk show in New York for All Sports, WFAN, an hour segment on professional wrestling. And assistant editor of
Do
Wrestling
you get a lot of
magazine.
response on that show when you have it on?
Yes, we do. We get a lot of calls, a lot of fanatics that call up and want to know the latest rumors and what's going to happen today, tomorrow, and whatever. Who's who. A lot of people want to know what their real names are. It's fun, it's interesting, and it's
What
just
is your
another thing we're
real name?
doing.
My real name is Joe Bivens. Okay, how do you like? You want to know the truth?
Go ahead.
Abe Ginsburg. That is my real Abe.
You're any relation to Woo Woo Ginsburg?
No, you don't have.
Ming Toy Ginsburg. Wait a minute.
That's Bruno Sammartino's
And
name.
we
Abe
just
Ginsburg.
came out.
Now, you're the assistant editor of Wrestling Eye, and what are the other publications you're associated
Oh, we
with?
also have now, just came out in January with the premiere issue, and you have it down there if you want to show it to the people. A successful newsletter
Matt
which
Rapp.
has a column with Matt Rapp Monthly, with a partner down in Florida. And
What's this?
That's
This is-
just some
whoops.
publicity stuff on Lou that I did for a couple of his projects. Matt Rapp Monthly has a column of Captain Lou Albano once a month.
That was USA down there that you just
Right.
dropped out.
and
It's in USA, Captain Lou for president.
This is in
that's some of the things I would do for a wrestler and a man in wrestling like
Okay.
Lou. Put some things together about him and
Okay.
compile
Now,
them.
you are a publicist, so do you deal with new wrestlers, or do you revitalize old careers, or do you do both?
Whoever warrants my services, whether it be a guy just starting or a guy like Lou who's been in this business for years, it's available. A guy like Burt who needs no publicity at all, everybody knows him, just look at his hats.
Not only that, you can find my picture in all
He's gonna
post
be all
office
right if-
walls.
Okay,
He's going to be all right if he wears a hat.
Let's, but you're not wearing yours,
Well, I
so maybe you're
forgot
not
it
all
again.
right.
I'm losing my mind. I forgot my